Hey guys, welcome back to Pat Max Adventures. I am Patrick, and I have just realized that I don't think I've ever done an official Q&A video like the one I'm doing today. And I also realized I never did any kind of special thank you video to all of you for us reaching 20,000 subscribers, which we are now at 22,000 subscribers. So I think I want to dedicate this video to thank all of you who have been with me since the beginning in 2016 to now, and to all of those who have just joined the channel. Thank you so much for bringing the channel up to 22,000 subscribers. I never imagined this would happen, but it has, and I'm so excited, and I'm so excited to engage with you guys more. I have all of your questions here on my phone. I'm not going to go in any particular order. I'm just going to go down the list. So let's start, guys. The first question is from Brian Suron. Will you go back to do another video in Guangzhou? Guangzhou is in southern China. Yes, I would love to go back to Guangzhou. I would have to say that Guangzhou was my favorite city in the Guangdong province in southern China. It's a great mix of old and new. There was great food there, and I had an overall great experience. So yeah, I definitely would love to go back to Guangzhou. Next question is from Gerald Lowe. Hi Patrick, sorry for asking an additional question. Gerald Lowe asks, what is your favorite country that you have visited? Without wanting to be negative, what is your least favorite country? My favorite country, it's hard. There's a lot of countries I really have enjoyed. Kyrgyzstan. I'd have to say Kyrgyzstan in Central Asia. Something about that country really clicked with me. It has huge mountains. I love hiking. It's the first place that I actually did a 3-day trek in the mountains. There are many horses in Kyrgyzstan. When I was younger, I did horseback riding, and there's many horses in Kyrgyzstan. I don't know, that country just really clicked with me. The people were really great and welcoming, the other travelers I met. I just had an overall good experience there. My least favorite country, I would have to say, is Vietnam. And I know a lot of people are going to be shocked by that because so many people love Vietnam right now and are posting wonderful things about it. I went to Vietnam in 2015 and I did not have a great time. I did not have good interactions with the locals. I got sick. It was just overall, I just did not have a great experience in Vietnam. That doesn't mean that Vietnam is not a good country. Every traveler has different experiences in different countries, and unfortunately I had a very negative experience in Vietnam. So that's part of the reason why I haven't gone back to Vietnam. At some point I would love to, but there's so many other countries I still want to visit and go back to first. Tina Washington asks, hey Patrick, I was thinking of going to Korea to visit. What is it like over there for people of different nationalities? South Korea is a very homogeneous society, meaning that the majority of the country is ethnically Korean and their nationality is Korean, whereas Americans, we are so diverse. There's so many different ethnicities and cultures within America. I had a lot of American friends back in South Korea of so many different ethnicities, Asian Americans, Black Americans, white Americans, Latino Americans, and everyone seemed to be treated pretty much the same. From what I heard from my friends and just Americans in general. Now, when it comes to race and ethnicity, there is a bit of a difference going on in South Korea, unfortunately. For example, my friend who is an African American, and he's very dark, he would share stories. We used to work together in the same town that his kids would be like, teacher, you're so dark, can you just shower and get rid of the color? and if you hear that back in America, you would think, oh my god, those kids are racist. In Korea, a lot of them are not racist, or it's not malicious, they just don't understand. They don't understand that, you know, that there are people that look different and are from the same country. So they have this whole mentality that, oh, you don't look American. I've been told that in China. I've been told that I don't look American. So sometimes in different countries, and like Korea, they have this image maybe from media and movies that, oh, you've got to be this tall, blonde, blue-eyed person and then you're American. He never shared any really bad experiences. He lived in Korea, I think he's still there. He was there for at least 6 years. He would just get questions like that from his kids. South Koreans seemed to really like Americans, and they seemed really interested in many different nationalities as well. Especially the younger generation in South Korea is a lot more open now and very curious to learn about different ethnicities, cultures, countries, and I think it's great that so many different kinds of people go to South Korea to teach English or to travel, to expose them to different kinds of people so they can better understand the world. Juan Park asks, I'm Korean living in Seoul, trying to go to Jeju for a 3-day vacation. Is there an absolute place to visit and food to eat from your perspective? You've got to try the samgyeopsal on Jeju. They're very famous for their barbecue there, their pork. It does taste different than barbecue in Seoul and any other part of South Korea, so I definitely recommend that. As far as places to go, you've got to go to Hallasan and hike up Hallasan. It's about a 6 to 8 hour hike up and down, so it's a day hike, a full day hike. Any season, it's beautiful. And I would definitely suggest going to Seogwipo. Seogwipo is on the other side of Jeju Island from Jeju City. It's less crowded. There's so many waterfalls over there. There are so many more trees. It's more lush. So for me personally, I really like the Seogwipo area. There's a lot of Oli trails. Those are the trails along the shore. They've got a lot of those on that side of the island. I definitely recommend spending a lot of time in Seogwipo. CL asks, which is your favorite country to live in Asia and why? I would say Taiwan, and I know Taiwan is debated by some if it's a country or not, but as far as places in Asia, I would love to live in Taiwan. It really has a lot to offer for me personally. Landscape, I love hiking, I love doing adventures, jumping off waterfalls. It's got all of that, waterfalls, hiking, amazing hikes, beaches, scuba diving, islands, it's got everything. And being a gay man, it's the most open area and place in Asia to be gay. The gay men there are more relaxed, more open, so as far as dating goes and just my personal life, hands down, it would be Taiwan. Aquarian Christianity asks, I would like to know what the culture is like in Uzbekistan and Tajikistan, food, music, architecture. Unfortunately, I never made it to Tajikistan. Uzbekistan, they've got the minarets and the madrasas. I would say that's the main reason why people go there right now. Their tourism boomed in 2018. I went there in 2017. Food, they have something called pov, it's P-O-V. It's like this really thin shredded beef mixed with carrots and other vegetables and rice, and the rice is orange. Oh my gosh, it's so delicious. The majority of people in Uzbekistan are Muslim. I believe majority Sunni Muslim. So there's many big mosques and madrasas. I believe that's the main reason why people visit Uzbekistan, because it's got a very ancient history that they've held on to. It's very interesting. Cam's Travel Adventures asks, oh wow, he's got a lot of questions. Okay, here we go. First question, what would be the best way to explore China? And he lists a lot of different cities. Okay, I've gone to China 3 times. I first went in 2012. I would say hit the major cities first and kind of do a circle. Decide if you're going to start from the north or the south. I first started in Beijing, went to Xi'an, Chengdu, Guilin, Shanghai, Guangzhou, Shenzhen. His next question, what would you recommend to someone who is traveling alone internationally for the first time? Breathe and relax. The first travel you take outside of your country, wherever you live in the world, and you go alone, it is scary. However, the very first trip, whatever you do, after you make that first leap, you will feel so much better. Keep an open mind and just believe in yourself and believe in other people. And what I mean by believing in other people is don't believe that no one's going to help you because they don't speak the same language or that you can't find something or get something done. My biggest suggestion would be believe in yourself even when you get faced with challenges, and to believe in other people, that there are lots of good people and there are lots of good people there to help you as well. His next question, what is the best way to plan out big trips? Because my plan, oh, this relates to the first one. Yes, so for me, oh my gosh, there's so many places I want to go. But realistically, when it comes to geography and time, you sometimes can't fit it all in. So when it comes to Asia, I would break it down into Southeast Asia. So Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, Myanmar, Cambodia, Vietnam, Laos. All these countries are right next to each other. You can travel them all by land. Then you could move on to Borneo, Indonesia, Timor-Leste, if you want to go all the way south, Papua New Guinea. Then go to Eastern Asia, Northern Eastern Asia. But you could do like Taiwan, China, South Korea, Japan. I highly suggest doing Japan, South Korea, and China together. Then save Southeast Asia for Southeast Asia. Oh, in the Philippines, where I am right now. Yeah, definitely include the Philippines as well. His next question, how do you break out of being nervous and coming up with things to say while talking to the camera in public? Yeah, that's a good question. I think it took me about 1.5 years to finally get comfortable in front of the camera. If you watch some of my older videos, even going back to Kazakhstan, I'm still a bit nervous because you're out there talking to the camera and all these people are looking at you like you're crazy. Now, I don't give a shit. I don't care. You'll see some of my videos. I'll be out in the middle of the crowds. I'll be like, hey guys, blah, 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 blah. And sometimes going back and editing, you know, sometimes people in the background will be like this, or they'll like do the middle finger or whatever, which is funny to see. But yeah, you just get to a point where you're just like, I don't care. And you just do it. And then it's done. I don't know these people. They don't know me. Most likely I'll never see them in my life again. So who cares? His next question, do you plan on writing a book? As of now, no, but that's a good question, and I should write a book at some point. Sometime in the future, that would be something really good I should do. His last question is, how do you find the cheapest flights and hotels? Good question. I have always stuck with the app Kayak. A lot of travel vloggers and other people who travel have their own ways of doing things, and a lot of people have great ideas and come up with a lot of things. I'm a little lazy. I don't try to do all these really sophisticated things to try to find the cheapest flight. Really what I do is I check flights every day, maybe 3 or 4 times a day. So for example, if I'm going to go back to California in October, right now it's August, or I'm going to go back to China, I will check flights every day up until about maybe 5 weeks before I go home. Flight prices change hourly. I know people have talked about how you can kind of figure it out. Honestly, I've got a life. I don't have time to try to figure out how to specifically remember what day and what hour it's going to be the cheapest or what website. So I just check. I constantly check. So I'm going to the dentist. Oh, I'm standing in line in the grocery store. Oh, let me check the flight real quick. Oh, I'm about to take a shower. Oh, let me just take 2 minutes to check the flights real quick. So I just constantly check the flights in hotels, and then eventually I'll get one that I really like, and then I take it. Heng Chora, I hope I'm saying your name correct, asks, do you plan to go back to China? Yes, I would love to go back to China. Right now, here in 2020, not right now, but in the future, absolutely. RE asks, what is your favorite city to travel to? What country has the prettiest landscape? Ooh, I'd have to say, God, I don't have one favorite city. I'd have to say my favorite cities are Seoul, Guangzhou, Taipei, and Hong Kong. Reason being is that I love mountains and hiking. Taipei and Seoul and Hong Kong in particular, you can be in this big, beautiful metropolitan city that has everything, and then within less than an hour, you can be in these big, beautiful mountains. So those would be the cities I really like. Michael Leonard asks, why have you been traveling in Southeast Asia, Central Asia, and Russia? Why not Europe or Africa? To be completely honest, because it's very cheap out here. That's how it started. I also have really connected with the cultures out here. There are so many countries, and every country is different. It's so different. I know you can say the same for Africa and South America and Europe. I just haven't made my way to those areas of the world. I'm also working full-time, and I need decent internet, and Asia, a lot of places in Asia provide that. I've also made a lot of friends out here in Asia. So I feel so comfortable. I have friends message me, oh, when are you coming back to Thailand? Or when are you coming back to Beijing or Seoul or Jeju or Kuala Lumpur? So that's another factor why I've stayed out here. Because I have so many friends out here, so it's not as lonely and it's more fun to travel. But definitely at some point I would love to go to Europe. The Balkan states, Spain, Portugal, France. There's so many places I still want to go. His next question, which country was the most difficult to get into? Russia. Russia was the most difficult for me to get into, especially as an American. I went there in 2017. The paperwork, the visa, you need a letter of recommendation, which you can do that through a tourist company, which I did through Russia. But just the time and the paperwork, it took a lot of time. China takes a lot of time as well for Americans, but Russia definitely took a lot of time. However, it was worth it. I loved Russia, especially Siberia. If I ever go back to Russia, I'm going to Siberia first. His next question, any country you've been to that you never got to return to that would be fine with you? Vietnam again. I didn't have a great experience in Vietnam. As an out, proud gay man, have you ever felt endangered or possibly had harassment of any kind places that you have visited? So one thing that I haven't done a lot on this channel is I haven't talked a lot about being gay and being a gay traveler, which a lot of times I really do want to share that with you guys, especially being a gay man going to Russia and Uzbekistan and some of these countries that are very conservative. Brunei, they now have the stoning law that you could be stoned to death for being gay, and I've been there. The real reason why I don't share a lot partly is because of my safety. My mom has always worried about me, especially being gay and going to some of these countries, but also safety. I'm not a huge vlogger, but you know, if some people recognize me and they really disagree with it, you know, it could still put me in danger. In the future, I would love to dive into that more. I didn't actually have any problems in Russia, believe it or not, but then again, I wasn't on the dating apps really, and nobody really knew a lot that I was gay. I would say Kazakhstan. I did a story video a while back where there was a guy, I don't know if he knew that I was gay or if he was gay or he was just trying to rob me. But I had a kind of sketchy situation with a guy in Kazakhstan who was a waiter at a restaurant. He wanted to go down and hang out at a lake in the middle of the night, and with his friend, who I thought they were so handsome. I was like, oh my god, either we're gonna have this amazing threesome on the lake, or these guys are gonna murder me and rob me. And I ended up not meeting them that night, and it got really sketchy, and they never talked to me again. Yeah, I would say that was the place I had the most kind of sketchy situation about being gay. But other than that, even Brunei, no, I haven't had any places that made me feel too uncomfortable. And his last question, have you met any potential Mr. Right on your travels? Being a travel vlogger and being a nomad, that's one thing that can be difficult at times. There are times where I miss having a boyfriend. I had a long-term boyfriend back in Hawaii for 3 years at one point. And there are some guys that I have met along the way in different countries that I've really connected with. And I'm like, wow, if I lived in this city, in this country, I would definitely date you. We definitely have a connection and something could definitely develop, but my passion and my heart is still in travel. So I haven't committed myself to anyone. I still talk to some of these guys, and if I ever want to settle down in one of these cities or countries, I definitely would want to try to see if something could happen with one of them. But yeah, I would say a few times as I've traveled. Next question, Emily Horner. How do you plan and budget for long-term travel? Ooh, that's a very good question. So I usually budget $1,000. So I'm gonna spend $1,000 this month. That includes everything: rent, food, spending money, transportation. If I can get under $1,000, then I've met my goal. With my work right now, I make my own schedule and I can work more or less, whatever I want. And I'm also trying to save $1,000 a month. So right now, this year, it's been save $1,000 a month. Save $1,000 a month and spend only $1,000 a month. Right now I make, it depends on how much I'm working in a month. Sometimes I make $2,200, sometimes I make $2,800. It just depends on how much I work that month, but that is how I budget. Really simple, just 1,000, try to save 1,000, try not to spend more than 1,000. When did you realize you wanted to travel? In 2012, I had a really bad breakup. I was really hurt, my heart was broken, and I never had any interest in going to Asia. I was like, nope, no interest. I want to go to Europe, I want to go to South America, I don't want to go to Asia. But something happened with me, and I did something really drastic. And I went to China by myself in 2012, and that changed my life. I went to China and I was like, oh my god, I love this. Does traveling ever feel lonely to move from place to place without settling? Yes, it does. It does. And being almost 34, I'm hitting a point where, yeah, I miss having a boyfriend or dating someone or having those regular friends. So before this pandemic happened, I was ready to kind of decide on a home base. So for example, if Taiwan was my home base or the Philippines, to live here, but to continue to travel out a lot. So I would still have the freedom and excitement of the travel, but still having a home base where I could have regular friends and date and just more normalcy. What have you learned about yourself and qualities you have gained from traveling? Oh my gosh, I think I've learned a lot to... I've learned to really believe in myself, that I'm capable of doing a lot more than I thought I was. Not to be as fearful, have balls. I think my mom said that to me one time when I flew to Kazakhstan, to Central Asia. I remember sitting on the plane, leaving South Korea, and I was like, damn, Patrick, you got balls to do this alone. I think to forgive myself, not to be so hard on myself, that I'm human and I make mistakes, and that not everything is going to be perfect. I'm very practical. I'm a very practical thinker, and I'm a planner. And to keep more of an open mind, that things don't go as planned, and I've learned this over and over again, and the more you force it, the harder it is when things don't work out. So I think the biggest thing is to really just believe in myself. It's given me time to heal with personal issues, with a breakup, with some family issues as well. Being alone and having to figure things out on my own has really helped me resolve some of my personal issues and grow as a person. Angel T asks, oh wow, so many questions. Do you think you'll ever come back to America permanently? You know what? As of right now, in my blood, no. I think at one point I will live in the United States. I do see myself living in the United States for a period of time with my mom, uncle, and dad as they get older. But honestly, when they all pass away and I'm alone, I see myself still traveling. I don't know, it's in my blood. His next question, do you have an emergency fund? If you don't mind me asking, are you financially stable? Yes. This year, I hate to say it, because I know a lot of people are struggling right now, the pandemic has actually really helped me. It hasn't affected my work, so because of the quarantines and not going out, I've actually been working more. Like I said, I save about $1,000 a month because you never know what could happen. What if I get in an accident? What if I get ill? What if I have to spend money on something? I want that money there for emergencies. I have a very small family. I'm the only child. So I realized early on that I'm not just being safe for me, but I'm being safe for my mother and my uncle and my father, that I need to be as safe as possible because I don't want to put them in some stressful situation if something really serious happens to me. Yes, things could still happen to me that are out of my control, but having that saved money, which eventually I could spend that money on like maybe an apartment or a home down the road, but having it there right now is very important. What are some countries or places that you want to go? Europe, South America, Africa, there's so many places. I'm really interested in Georgia, Armenia, that whole region, the Balkan states I've gotten really into recently. There's just so many places I still want to go. Mongolia is still on my list. I haven't made it there. Did traveling help you heal, grow as a person? I think I answered this a little earlier to a previous question. Yes. Traveling has really helped me heal, especially traveling alone, because I have no one else to rely on but me. You know, it's up to me to figure out my budget and my food and my health and my personal life. So yeah, it's really helped me, and I've had a lot of moments, a lot of tough moments too, where I've had to face things that I wasn't happy about, but to learn to accept some things that have happened in the past and to accept some things about myself. You definitely learn and grow as a person when you travel. What did you get your bachelor's degree in? Ooh, good question. Sociology from the University of Hawaii on the island of Oahu in Hawaii, where I lived for almost 6 years. I didn't really know what I wanted to do at the time. With a sociology bachelor's degree, you either get a master's degree and become a researcher or a professor. I ended up getting into tourism and worked in hotels and hotel management before totally changing my career to become a teacher and traveling abroad. What do you do in your free time? I love to go to the gym, work out, swim. I work a lot. I work about 6 hours a day teaching online. I also love just walking around, making new friends, going out, eating. I love watching documentaries about space, geography, geological, like how volcanoes work, black holes. I love all those kind of random things. Animals. I love learning about the ocean. I love documentaries in general. I have a few favorite shows: The X-Files, Sliders, soap opera I used to watch when I was younger, Passions. Such a dork. These shows I can watch over and over and over again, and I am watching a lot of them over during this pandemic. Last, are you happy and okay? Yes, I am happy and I'm okay. Thank you for asking. Kelly S74. Hi Pat, in all the places you have visited, which stands out as your favorite? Again, I would have to say Kyrgyzstan was one of my favorites. Is there a place that you can't forget? Yeah, Kyrgyzstan. Yeah, Kyrgyzstan. I think it was called Alakul. Alakul, doing that 3-day trek. I'll never forget that. And the people that I was with and the scenery that we saw, it was amazing. Gerald Lowe asks again, or actually comments about me doing more pro-con videos or travel tip videos. I have done travel tip videos on Uzbekistan, Russia, and China. Yeah, I haven't done a lot of pros and cons about countries. That could be something fun that I could do. Michael Stewart asks, do you think expats will become a thing of the past? No, I don't. I think the expats will remain, and I think they will continue to increase after we get through these next couple of years. Once this pandemic is completely gone, no, I think this will continue to increase as far as people living as digital nomads. Jun Ki Hong asks, who I went scuba diving with in El Nido. Hey June, how long have you been working online as an English teacher? I've been working online as an English teacher for 1.5 years now. Go almost 2 years. Next, how do you plan your budgets while traveling for long periods of time? Again, I budget by $1,000, really simple. Try to spend $1,000 a month and save $1,000 a month, meaning that I'm making over $2,000 a month. That is my goal. If I go under that, that's great. If I go over that, that means that I either had a little emergency or there was something I really needed to buy, and I try to make that up in the previous month with maybe working a few more hours online and trying to get more students to teach to make up. Third question, what are your future goals? My future goal is just to continue to save money right now and to be a successful teacher. I want to continue teaching. I love teaching. It's something that has really just come naturally for me. I wish I would have known this when I was younger in university. I would have majored in education. Definitely keep doing that. Keep traveling. Find a home base somewhere once this pandemic really settles down. Continue to travel a lot, but really find a home base. Sikhar CB asks, is Seoul, capital of South Korea, cheaper than Shanghai? Ooh, good question. I think in some aspects it is. From my personal experience, I found accommodation cheaper in Seoul than Shanghai. But then again, I haven't been in Shanghai since 2018, and I haven't been in South Korea, Seoul, since 2018. I mean, that's only 2 years. But I would say as far as accommodation and food, yeah, I think, honestly, I think I found South Korea to be a bit cheaper than Shanghai. They're close. But for me personally, and the way I travel, and the places that I stay, and the food that I eat, I found South Korea to be a bit cheaper. And maybe because I used to live in South Korea, so I really know the places to go and how to get better deals than China, where I don't speak Mandarin Chinese yet, maybe. And I don't know Shanghai as well. Secrecy also asks, can you make a video on India or Singapore? Yeah, I should. I've never been to India, so definitely in the future I would love to do that. Singapore, I've been to Singapore 4 times and I've never made any videos or vlogged in Singapore. So when this pandemic is kind of settling down, I will definitely make some videos in Singapore. Andres Bustarga, sorry if I butchered your name, asks, where are you now? I am currently here in Metro Manila, here in the Philippines. How do you make travel videos using a smartphone? Honestly, I don't know. I've never made a video from my smartphone. I know there are apps that you can use, and maybe you could find more information online how to do that, but I've just never done that, never needed to do that, never really wanted to do it, but it'd be fun to try it sometime and figure it out. Carrie Carter McCoy asks, what made you want to leave the US? I left the US in 2014, so it's been about 6 years. I think I just hit that moment in my life, especially coming out of a really bad breakup where I was heartbroken, that I wanted to try something new. And after going to China in 2012, it changed everything. And I wanted to take a risk. And I think I've always taken risks in my life. And I wanted to take a risk, and it clicked, and I fell in love with it. I love being American, and I'm very proud of being American. And I love going home to see my family every year. But I think that it's in my blood now. I think that being a nomad and living abroad or living in Asia specifically is just something really for me. It's something I found that I really love. Kim Sebastian asks, how much of the native language of your students do you need to know, speak, and write to teach English? That's a very good question. You don't need to know any of the language. So if you want to teach English in South Korea, China, Japan, Vietnam, Thailand, or teach online, you don't need to know any of the language. It's actually encouraged when I was in South Korea, even if you learn some Korean, not to speak Korean in the classroom, because once the students know that you can speak their language, then it's gonna make it harder to get them to speak English, because they're gonna try to get you to keep speaking in their language. So yeah, you don't need to know the native language there to teach English. Of course, it's good to try to learn the local language if you're living in that country, but yeah, you don't need to know the local language to teach English. The Mantis25 asks, my question is, being abroad, what changes have you seen from the time you first left the US to begin your journey to now living abroad? Ooh, that's a good question. There are positives and negatives. I would say, like, from my hometown in San Diego, I think in a positive way it's become more diverse. A lot more things that I learned about out here when it comes to food and different cultures and knowledge have become more popular back home. People are becoming more aware and things are just becoming more global now. So I think that's a really great thing. I would have to say a down thing that I've actually mentioned to my mom recently is homelessness. When I was back home a year ago, you know, I was a bit surprised by how many homeless people I was seeing near her home or our area in San Diego, and I don't ever remember seeing that many homeless people. So I think that's one thing that has definitely changed in America in general. From my perspective, I think that the wealth gap has definitely gotten bigger, but I've seen that happen around the world as well. Budal Moromu, I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name, asks, what is your religion apart being thought as atheist? That's a good question. I'm not atheist. I grew up Christian, so when I was younger I used to go to the church every Easter, every Christmas, and then for a period of time I would go every weekend. I lived mostly with my mom, who kind of moved away from the church as I got older, and my mom actually got into Buddhism. So my mom now practices Buddhism and has really found a passion and an interest in Buddhism. Me personally, I'm not religious. I'm very spiritual. I know that might have a stereotype to it, but I do believe in a higher power. For me, from traveling and going to mosques and going to these big cathedral churches and going to these Buddhist temples and Hindu temples, I think for me, I see religion as one. I see all religion as one thing. Basically, live a good life, treat others good in the way that you would like to be treated, and you're worshiping a higher power, whatever that may be. I do believe in energy and that there's a higher energy out there, but when it comes to a specific religion, no, I'm not religious, but I love learning about different religions. Sarah Green asks, how do you find time to work while traveling? And do you have any advice for people wanting to become digital nomads? Good question. Yes, I work about 6 hours a day, Monday through Friday. I create my schedule. I gave myself Saturday, Sundays off because that's when everyone else has their days off. So when I make new friends, that's when they're available to hang out. During the week, I work from usually around 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. In the mornings, I will go out and I'll work, I'll go swimming, I'll go walking around, I'll go make a video, I'll go to the gym, maybe have lunch with a friend, then I teach at night. A while ago, I actually worked on Sundays and I had Friday, Saturdays off, but that wasn't working because a lot of friends would want to do stuff on Sundays and I'm like, oh man, that's my busy day at work. That's how I manage my time with working online. People wanting to become a digital nomad, whether that's teaching English or if you're doing some kind of web development or whatever that may be, I would say make sure that you have a plan of how and when you would be working, if that's possible. Find a country that you could stay in first for a little while to test it out. That's what I did in Taiwan before traveling country to country to country, learning how it's going to be for you teaching or working online and seeing how you can do your schedule. Once you've mastered that and you feel comfortable, then moving to country, it will be a smooth ride. The main thing also is internet, also to check to make sure that where you're going has some kind of decent internet. Jinny Hong asks, do you think you'd live well only doing YouTube, not teaching English online? Absolutely not. I made, last month, I made $165 on YouTube. I think the most I've ever made on YouTube was $500, which is a good amount of money. That's when I was in China. It really depends on your videos, and I honestly have not put a lot of serious effort into YouTube and making money. I never made a website. I've never been paid to sponsor any products. I have companies message me all the time about products and VPNs and different things, but I've just chosen not to do it. So I think at some point here, I would love to invest more in YouTube and try to make some more money. It would be great, but it's really just been a hobby for me, and I've genuinely just done it the way I've done it. I never ask anyone to subscribe to the channel, which is probably a marketing mistake on my end if I want to grow more. I think it's just part of who I am, that I'm just a very genuine, open person, and I feel weird asking people to subscribe, even though that's what everyone does on YouTube. So I should do that more, right guys? I should do that more, and it's just, I'll get used to it, I'll get used to it. But I know if I want to grow and I want to grow faster, there's a lot more things that I could be doing to make more money, and that should be something that maybe I will start to do more in the future. Next question here, Buri Gadong Padam, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. How and where do you see yourself in 10 years from now? In 10 years, I'll be about 44. I still see myself living abroad and living a similar life. I see myself maybe doing something different online other than teaching online. My parents will be a bit older, so I do see myself possibly living back in the US at that time, because I do want to be with them as they get older and they're going to need assistance. But maybe at that point, maybe I would live half of the year at home and then still travel. I'm not quite sure, but something like that. Last question is from Debbie McCassler. She asks, also this is personal, but when in Taiwan, are there plenty of toilets, for example, at the night market, at the beach, in small places like Jufin? This is actually a really good question, Debbie, and I think it pertains to any country and any place. Every country is a bit different when it comes to toilets. Sometimes you may need to use the toilet right away, and it's good to know. In Taiwan, that's one thing I love about Taiwan. They have toilets everywhere. There are toilets in the subway. Many countries do not have toilets in the subway. Taiwan has a toilet in every station, and sometimes there's even 2 toilets in a station. In Jufin, there are several toilets throughout the stairs there, and outside by the 7-Eleven there's a toilet. There are toilets in the buildings surrounding the open market areas. Some markets actually have portable toilets that are there as well. So when it comes to Taiwan and toilets, don't worry, Debbie, you don't have to worry about toilets for sure. Wow, this was a long video, guys. I hope that this was very helpful to you guys to hear my answers to your questions and to get to know me better and part of who I am. We should definitely do more Q&As in the future. Thanks again for being part of this channel and Pat Max Adventures. I definitely would like to put more time and effort into the channel and take things a bit more seriously. So as I say, I don't usually ever say this, but I'm going to say it now. Please subscribe if you are a traveler and you want to learn more about traveling the world as a digital nomad and as a gay man as well. I think I should add that there. I think it's not all of who I am, but it is a part of me, and I will start sharing that more with you guys. Thanks again for watching, guys, and remember to live every moment to the max. I'll see you guys next time.